Tony Khan said in his really, really deep voice, Aman, that he's bought Ring of Honor. There were rumors, you predicted it, and he's actually gone and done it. Thoughts?
My first thought after I saw the news this morning, and then I was thinking about it during the day. Can you remember that last Nitro, Shane is in the ring and he's saying, "Oh well, the contract reads McMahon, but it reads my name." But that was like kayfabe and everything planned. This is legit. Like this is the real life version of Tony Khan coming out in the middle of the ring in front of everybody, and be like, "Yeah, I bought Ring of Honor." I am surprised. I don't know what he's going to do with it. Like, he released a press release on social media where he said he's brought the video library, he's bought the intellectual property rights, he's bought essentially everything. So I don't know what he's going to do with it. I would, if I was him, like treat it as like sort of like Dynamite and Rampage are your Raw and SmackDown, and then Ring of Honor is kind of like your NXT, where the new up and comers, people who have been featured somewhat, but not as much, but need like experience. Treat that as a ground for them, and then when they're ready, bring them like up to the quote unquote main roster type thing. But I think it's a good move. He's really, really making like waves in the wrestling community. Like, this is a company that didn't exist 2 years ago, and 2 years now, they're probably one of the hottest, if not the hottest, wrestling company in the world right now. So yeah. And I was kind of thinking, oh, well, he always says big major announcement. It doesn't really meet the hype and expectations, but it did this time.
Yeah, I was sitting at my laptop at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? And I saw something on YouTube. I was like, hold on, what? And then I saw it, and I like the reaction of the crowd sold it for me. Right, I've only watched like a few Ring of Honor matches. I've seen Ricochet's matches. I've seen Samoa Joe's. I've seen a bit of Bryan Danielson, right? But I haven't seen like proper Ring of Honor show apart from a few, pay-per-views and stuff. And I heard the news. I was shocked. On top of that, the crowd reaction just was like absolutely amazing. Right? On top of that, you're a bigger wrestling nut than me. But they've got this Hall of Fame thing happening in like start of April, which is a slap in WWE Hall of Fame's face, because they're going to induct CM Punk, they're going to induct Bryan Danielson, and maybe Samoa Joe, I think, something like that. So I'm loving the rivalry between the two companies, because yes, it might become diluted. You know, you've got AEW and WWE, and everything else is just under the wayside. But I think AEW might actually do something similar to what you said. Probably give some sort of justice to Ring of Honor fans, Ring of Honor wrestlers, and the promoters and all that stuff in the back. Because if they do something like the original NXT, or if they do something like a developmental brand, even if it's not a developmental brand, as long as it's on TV, or I don't think it should be online. I think Ring of Honor needs to be on TV. Maybe on a Thursday. Maybe on, I don't know if there's probably a show on Monday. Oh yeah, Raw. There we go. Yeah. So I can't think of a show on Thursday apart from maybe Impact. But you could have Ring of Honor on Thursdays, right? I genuinely think what he's done is the right thing. On top of that, all the AEW stars, right? The ones who can't get on TV, they can go perform at ROH. And that is probably the best part out of this entire thing. Everyone's talking about the roster being too big. Not anymore. Yes, he's picked up a few people from ROH, but a lot of them were released, weren't they? Earlier, later last year, right? So I'm liking this decision, and I'm glad he's done it. You know, there was news about how expensive it was going to be, and the first thought I was like, maybe Tony Khan does it, just as a joke, joke in my mind. And he's actually gone and done the thing. He's done the thing that you predicted before anyone else, right? We heard it here first, guys. So thank you, Aman. And I just want to ask you one question. Apart from the developmental side, what else can Tony Khan do with with ROH, because he's got the entire library of the last 20 years, right? And what he did in Dynamite, Christopher Daniels versus Bryan Danielson. I think it was the first match on ROH, etc. So the full circle thing is great, but I don't want to see an ECW type of thing, and I don't want to see a WCW type of thing where WWE kind of just brought them back for a bit and then they go away. ROH maybe needs to be its own brand rather than just a segment. What do you think of that?
I think definitely what you mentioned about, and we've talked about for several weeks, their roster is just too big, and they don't have enough TV time to justify having that talent. Like a good example would be a few weeks ago they debuted Keith Lee. Yeah. And you haven't seen him, apart from like backstage promos and things like that, you haven't seen him on a Dynamite in a match. I am a bit questionable with what they're doing with Andrade. Since he's come to AEW, his booking has been a bit hit and miss as well, because they have too much talent, not enough TV time to give these people. Yeah. So either you turn it into like a developmental NXT type brand, and you just then freshen up your greener talent, and then bring them back, bring them to Dynamite, or you just leave ROH as its own separate entity, but it's just operating under the AEW umbrella, and it's its own like separate third brand, like NXT became when AEW came on the scene. But half your talent is from there, like got their start there. CM Punk got his start there. The Young Bucks are so famous and synonymous with the Ring of Honor. So is Adam Cole. So is Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. Bryan Danielson, Christopher Daniels, Kazarian. Like the list goes on and on and on, and those are just the names off the top of my head that I could remember. But with that extensive video library as well, you can, without getting into like the nitty-gritty legal side of it all, you can just give people more of a backstory on superstars that you're highlighting. You can say, well, CM Punk had a huge history there, this is what he did, and Bryan Danielson had a huge history there, and this is what he did, and just get people more and more invested in those characters. I honestly, I don't know what else you could really do with that. I completely 100% agree with you that don't just bring it like they did with ECW, just brought it. It was like a kind of like a flash in the pan type thing, and then it just died out. And I don't think that's what Tony Khan will do realistically. I think, me personally, when Vince brought that back, it was kind of just like, well, I own the video library, I'm just going to do what I want with them. I don't really see the big deal in it, but if that's what the people want, that and it makes me money, then so be it. But I think he just lost interest in it. But I don't think Tony Khan is that type of wrestling owner. I think he's really, really passionate about wrestling and in general. So we'll just have to wait and see. But another huge acquisition for them, from instead of getting released WWE stars, he's went and bought a whole company. So
perfect, absolutely perfect. Yeah.